Hello Virgo, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If Virgo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Virgo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. We start with a Four of Swords. This is nice. This is kind of like Spirit is saying, like, just stop fighting, just relax. Whatever's stressing you out, allow it to sort of wash away. Okay? I think you're somebody who, you tend to be a little bit, you get a little tightly wound sometimes. I find that sometimes you take on a lot of stress and it really does kind of start to affect you. I think that it affects you in physical ways. I think that sometimes you're not even really aware of the tension, right? The mental stress. I feel like you've got a lot going on. You got a lot on your mind. And Spirit's kind of saying, just take a rest from it. Take a day where you're not worried about everything, right? And I understand that maybe you have to, because who else is going to if you don't, right? But Spirit's saying that things are going to calm down. Things are going to get easier. Things are going to get smoother. The tension, the mental stress that's going on right now is going to relax, at least temporarily, right? Spirit's saying that you've maybe been drinking like a lot of coffee lately, is kind of the way I'm feeling it. That you've kind of been you've been pushing yourself very hard, because I feel there's a lot for you to get done. There's a lot for you to do. There's a lot for you to keep track of. I don't know if this is at work, at home, at school, friends, family, all of these things probably, right? Is that there's just it's a busy time all over the place, right? The Four is it's a steadiness, it's a stability. And I think that we need this. Of course, once we get the Four, we start looking around for the Five, right? We start wondering, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? As soon as we get snuggled up in bed and we close our eyes, we're just about to drift off to sleep, and then the phone rings. And then something else happens, and somebody else needs something from us, right? So it's been difficult for you to relax, it feels like, yeah. What we're going to do, though, is put this into some context, okay? And we're going to use some other cards to see what's going on here. We got the High Priestess. Very nice. Love the High Priestess. I don't want to forget to set my timer here, because I don't want this reading to be an hour long, which they sometimes can. They've kind of been growing in length lately. We've got the Queen of Wands underneath everything, the Hierophant, Seven of Swords, and the Princess of Swords. It could be that you're dealing with kids. It could be that you are. I almost wonder if you're. I know this is maybe oddly specific, but you're like an elementary teacher, or you teach younger kids, or there's something about you being responsible for younger people. Yeah. But I feel that there's a lot of this kind of this expectation. We're always waiting for somebody else to come and need something from you, Here we have the Five. See, a lot of the air energy already. We've got the Four, the Seven, the Princess. We've got the Five. But something's different. Something's going on here. Something is changing. We've got your, this is the mutable earth energy. This is one of your power cards, Virgo. Gonna ring the bell. This is the Queen of Pentacles. It's mutable earth. It is one of your superpower cards, along with the Hermit, which we don't have the Hermit yet, but let's select the mystery card. Maybe this is that Hermit. This is the factor infinite and unknown. This is going to give us our confirmation at the end. We're going to put it right here with tiny Bob Ross right on top. You can barely see him, but he's there. And we're not going to look at that card until the end. It will confirm everything and tie everything together. If you have a prediction for that card, now's the time to use it, especially with this High Priestess right here in your midst, because you know, that card's all about the intuition. And I think it's always a good time to practice the intuition, exercise it. Let's look around at what we've got. Major Arcana. We've got the fixed earth energy of the Hierophant. This is the institution. This is the structure. This is conformity. This is kind of saying that this is your life. This is what has been preordained for you, and this is where you stay. Well, this is behind you now. Your intuition is opening to a different life, a different way of life. Okay? I'm not saying that you're going to be leaving your teaching job at the elementary school or whatever it is you're doing, but there's a new way. There's a new way of living. Okay, and it may be even because we have all of this air energy, and then we're sort of moving into this new earth energy. We've got this is some earth energy, but we're moving into this new sort of new behavior or a new way of relating to the universe. Okay, so I feel that this doorway here with the Eon card is maybe an opportunity for a new sort of job position, a new role within your company. Maybe you're going from being the elementary school teacher to a more administrative role. I feel like you're moving into a life or a way of life that is, well, for one, less stressful, or stressful in a different way. Stressful in a different way. Anyway, we've got a little bit of fire. We've got no water. We've got no water at all, right? And so it's really, it's kind of dry here. It's, I think it's very stressful, and the satisfaction isn't there. That you're doing a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, a lot of dealing with things, but you're not getting much satisfaction from it. And that just seems weird. Right? If you're doing all the work, if you're putting everything together and you're making all the plans for everybody and you're keeping everything running, where's the water for you? You know? So that's what we're missing. Maybe that's what we'll get over here with the mystery card. We've got a lot of air energy, of course, and we got some earth energy. But the High Priestess, I think, is your psychic perception. It's the widening psychic aperture. It is the waxing moon. It is the slow opening of the third eye. It's the growing sort of intuitive awareness of what's going on in your life. It is a card that says, trust your intuition. Yeah, trust your intuition. And it's kind of, it sort of requires that we take a time out from all this stressful energy, right? Because that's what we were talking about with the Four of Swords. And once we can once all this stress sort of calms down a little bit, then we'll be able to really open up and hear the intuition. It's hard to hear the intuition when our mind is constantly racing and running and we're tightly wound and everything's really tense. Shh, calm down, right? Listen to that subtle voice. Listen to what Spirit is telling you. I think when you were a kid, you had a really strong connection with Spirit. Maybe not as a kid, maybe like young adult or, I think many years ago. You had a sort of different connection with the spiritual world, right? Where you sort of felt it. It's like you were living in it, But then came along this Hierophant and kind of said, it's time for life. It's time for real life now. And this is what you got to do. You got to get a job. You got to make the money. You got to have responsibilities. And so I feel that you sort of gradually like got further and further away from that magical realm that we sort of, that some of us remember from childhood, or young adulthood, before real adulthood sets in, Spirit's saying, open yourself back up to that again. Okay? That there is sort of it's kind of an unexpected change taking place, but it's one that you definitely have to choose to do. Okay? That you are making the decision yourself to walk through this doorway of the eon. Judgment, rebirth, reawakening, the baptism by fire, the trial by fire. It's a fiery doorway, right? And for that, we're going to select one random, I'm just going to dig in there and get one random doorway card. And we'll put right here, and we'll reveal that when we get over there to that card. I want to do one language of flowers card in the same way and put that up here for some of the maybe sort of confusion that we get with the Seven of Swords there. Okay. But the intuition, very, very important here. Because your mind, I think, is kind of saying that, look, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have a more creative life, a more imaginative life, a more dreamy kind of life, a more psychic life, more spiritual, religious, whatever you want to call it, but practical world, all your responsibilities, that mental energy, I think, is really preventing it. And, you know, the older we get, the smarter we get, the more we learn, the more we stuff facts into our brains, the less we're in touch with the intuition, with the magic, with the goddess energy, you know? And the more it's kind of the Hierophant sort of replaces the high priestess in life. This is sort of early childhood. The more we go in school, the more we learn, and this card gets sort of further and further away until some of us can't even find it again. And the third eye is shut upon us, okay? And the eye is closed. Kind of going backwards, you know? You're not unlearning what you've learned, but you're trying to tap into that other part. You're trying to go past all the stuff we've learned. The more facts we have, the more it sort of squeezes out the irrational, dreamy, psychic magic, you know, lunar energy. Okay? The sunlight is going to really sort of wash out any little flame or any moonlight even, right? We think the moonlight's pretty bright when there's no other light source, but when the sun is there, it's kind of, the moon doesn't seem so bright in the daytime anyway, is what I'm saying, you know. But we want to get back to that. We want to open ourselves up to the Spirit is saying to start your practices again. Do those spiritual things. Go have your sort of, you know, your ritual in the woods around the fire, or, you know, do those things. Take a pilgrimage somewhere that has a magic potency for you. You know, do it. It's good for you. It's important for you. And I think it's going to open you up to what changes you need to make in your life in order to have a better experience. Okay. Underneath the surface, we have a Sagittarius person, Queen of Wands. This might be an older female energy in your life, maybe mom, grandma, could be an older sibling, an auntie. And they're kind of down beneath the surface. I almost wonder if this is kind of like a voice that you sort of hear in your head. Somebody, maybe they're not Sagittarius person, it could be. They might not be a fire sign at all. But I think that this could be someone in your life that is, you sort of can hear them echoing in your head about, you know, what you're supposed to do, you know, how you're supposed to live your life, and what sort of careers are proper for you, and what kind of lifestyles are proper for you, you know. And so that's kind of, you know, I think that's in your head a little bit. But the Queen of Wands is something else too. The Queen of Wands is a little bit of water in there. A little bit of water. The queens in the tarot are the watery aspect of the suit that they're in. So this is the watery aspect of fire, the way fire can just sort of flow and spread like lava, right? And that really, to me, says that when you have that soul connection, when you find that water energy inside of you, that heart, that love, you know, which I think is coming by way of that lunar energy, then it kind of, it's going to flow out and basically be like lava flowing out to all areas of your life, and it's going to transform every area of your life. Okay? And also what we have, I want to point out, is the Queen of Pentacles, fire and earth, right? Having the impulse and the behavior, having the aspiration and the implementation, the will and the action. and both queens, both with that watery energy in there. So when you tap in to that divine energy, to that heart energy, to that love, to that soul, to that self-love maybe, but to that high priestess, that divine energy, and that fire wants to flow out and transform your entire life, the obstacle for you is to actually let it. To actually let it. Okay? Because what has to take place in order to go from fire to earth is that spiritual energy has to go through the heart and the mind. Well, I think the heart's already there, but the mind, this air energy, is what's going to sort of give you doubts and gives you some questions and some second guessing, which is the Seven of Swords. Okay? This is sort of saying, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's almost an exercise in futility for me to even dream about this stuff. Yeah, sure, I could spend my time doing my rituals in the woods, or, going to mass or church, or doing my ceremonies and my devotions and my adorations and having my sort of spiritual practice and meditating or dreaming or doing art, tapping into my intuition and opening the third eye and all this kind of stuff. But my responsibilities are still going to be there. In fact, they're going to be worse now because I've spent all this time, I almost said I've wasted all this time, and now I've got to work twice as hard to get it done. So what's the point? Right? What's the point? These are those things that our mind will tell us in order to prevent us from making any sort of changes. The mind gets in this groove, gets comfortable where it's at, gets in the routine and wants to live there forever. Resists change. The mind does not like change. Neither does the Hierophant. We've sort of been trained to fill ourselves up with certain facts, and that's that. We don't like anything that kind of thinks outside the box like that. We're going to do this Language of Flowers card. The picture plan, insight. The answers are there for those who look. That's the High Priestess, right? The answers are there if you look. I think that there is a secret deep within you that must come out. There is that water energy in here that wants to flow out like fire and transform your entire life. You have to let it. You have to then sort of initiate that and make those decisions and change your behaviors and change your life. Okay. The Seven of Swords is also other people sort of criticizing you. It's that voice from your mom or your maybe your mother-in-law or your grandma or your older sibling kind of criticizing you and telling you, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. Your life is meant to be this way. And we've got to deal with that in whichever way we can, but we cannot let it prevent us from trying new things. Okay? And I think with the Princess of Swords in the future position, I said at the beginning that this was you kind of waiting for somebody else to kind of knock on your office door needing something, that there's not a moment's rest in your life, right? That's still true. But I feel that this is also your willingness to unlearn the life that you've learned, to unlearn what you think you know about yourself or what you believe about yourself or what you believe about your life or what is meant for you or what it's sort of you're going back to that time before you felt like your life was preordained, right? That you're willing to become the architect of your own destiny. Okay, I'm hearing that specifically from Spirit, the architect of your own destiny. Okay? And you've got to learn how to do that again. You know how to do it. You've got to sort of uncover. It's like spiritual archaeology. You've got to uncover that skill again. And that's the High Priestess. Got to uncover it again, right? I don't know why Spirit's saying there's something interesting about your shoes. I don't know what's going on, you have weird shoes or interesting shoes on, or you just bought new shoes or something, but I think the shoes are being pointed out to us because it's the tool for walking, right? For action. It's like words and thoughts mean one thing, but the actions, the behaviors, right? The feet don't lie. Okay? So we allow this fire to manifest. That we say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make, whatever this is going to be different. I'm going to have to learn something new. Maybe this is you moving into, like I said, a more administrative role in your business, or going into some other area of things where it's just not so, I hate to keep using the word stressful, but it's just not so much, okay? It's different, or it uses other skills that you have, or it allows you to be more creative and maybe less administrative. Maybe all this air is the administrative work. And maybe you want to actually get back to teaching, right? And not having to do the admin. So you could go either way. It depends on your situation. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. It really does support the channel, and I feel we really need to start supporting all of our favorite YouTube tarot readers. Not just my channel, but all of your favorite people. Like their videos, subscribe to their channels, watch the videos all the way through till the end, leave a comment, even if it's just to say hello, and share it with your friends, all these sorts of things, right? Things are tough all over. So let's support all of our favorite tarot readers here on YouTube. All right. We all thank you very much. General energy, 5 of Swords. More air energy, right? Go figure. Anytime we get a 4, we start looking for the 5. So it's kind of like we know life's going to be stressful. Life will always be stressful. Anytime we get a little bit of rest, the alarm clock's going to go off. As soon as you fall asleep, that's when someone's going to knock at your door and need you to go do something urgently, right? Life is really that game of trying to sort of catch a break wherever you can, in between all of the stress, all of the busyness, right? But I think the 5 of Swords here as your general energy is also saying some other things. It's kind of talking about you formulating this new sort of plan, understanding that we're getting really close to this doorway. We're just about to do it. I see that there's this opportunity now for you to cross into a different future. Okay, start doing something else with your life in some form or fashion, whether it's career or whatever. That doorway's there. It's a big change. It's going to cause you, it's going to be kind of uncomfortable to squeeze through a fiery door. Okay, so the first thing that kind of comes to mind is a lot of stuff, right? 5 of Swords. We start really thinking of all the possibilities. We kind of think, okay, what's it going to be like on the other side? It seems really, really positive. It seems like I'm really going to love it and enjoy it. But how am I going to do it? What's the timeline here? The 5 of Swords is not really a card of confusion, not so much like the 7 of Swords. This is more of a consideration. We're deliberating. We're sort of contemplating something. We're figuring it out. There's movement in your thoughts now. Okay, you're engaging with the idea to structure it, organize it, and make a plan. Yeah. Because what comes after the 5 of Swords is the 6 of Swords, the plan itself. Right? So I think this is what you're sort of working on as we walk up to this doorway and we think, am I going to go in the office and ask to be transferred? Is this it? Am I going to do it? How's this all going to work out? Again, Spirit showing me the shoes. Less talking, more walking. Okay? Become the architect of your own reality. Let's look at the doorway card for this, and it is, palmistry. Fortune and Tarot, collective destiny. The palm lines from birth tell your sacred palmistry. Listen to the notes of intuition. That's what it says. So maybe this is really a suggestion that maybe it is about really with this 4 of Swords is saying stop thinking and talking about it for now. Consult your intuition, maybe through your own methods of divination. Maybe you do tea leaf readings like my wife Lenore. She's over at Ula Tea Leaf Readings. Marvelous work she does over there. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to her channel. Really is nice. Do your own tea leaf readings, tarot readings. Do your own geomancy or Jing or crystal gazing or whatever you do, right? To tap into that intuition and stop the thinking, stop the mental deliberation, stop mentalizing it, and invoke the intuition through whatever methods you do. And if it's dancing around the campfire, I don't know. Employ that. Maybe it is palmistry. I don't know. Okay? And then, And then once we sort of get the idea and we sort of get the message from the intuition, from you do the tarot reading and you kind of know where you're kind of supposed to go look and what the doorway is, then we can start the 5. Then we can bring the thinking back in. We got the 4, now we got the 5. And we can start planning and thinking and be like, okay, this is kind of how it's going to work, and this is the timeline, this is what I got to do to organize it, this is how I need to phrase it, and whatever. Right? Some forms you just got to sign, paperwork you got to fill out. Okay. And then we go through that fiery doorway, and you realize that your future now is a lot different than it was over here. See, now we've got your superpower card, but this is the difficult part, because this is you really now like allowing yourself to do this new work. It's kind of like you cross the threshold of this doorway here, right? And on the other side, you're just kind of like, is it okay that I'm here? You know, it's like, ooh, the furniture's really soft. It's really nice over here. The air conditioner, oh my God, like it almost feels wrong that you're here. You know, it's almost like, am I allowed to sit down? Like, if I sit down, is someone going to come running in the door and shake me awake? Is this a dream? You know? So the difficult part for you is to really accept this and say, this is where I am. This is where I belong. I am accepted here. I deserve to be here. And gosh darn it, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm gonna optimize this as much as possible. The difficulty also for you is going to be looking at the past, to sort of like, it's almost like I don't even want to think about where I was before. Okay, because the Queen of Pentacles really is a card about the past. It's a card about looking back at your life and understanding the path that you were on and why it was necessary. And sometimes we don't want to have that retrospective. Sometimes we don't like that. You know, anytime you see on TV, there's like a Lifetime Achievement Award or like a retrospective on somebody's life or something, and it's always got a little bit of like melancholy. It's a little bit sort of sad or weird or like a little bit cringy or awkward or whatever you want to call it. We don't like doing that, you know? I don't like thinking back to when I was like a 13-year-old kid, you know, and the clothes that I used to wear and the way I would talk and the things that I would do out in the neighborhood. But I think it's a very necessary thing to understand everything that we've been through and why things happened the way they did. And I think that is such a difficult thing for any of us to do, is to understand, go back as far as you can in your memory. Not just to this situation and kind of where you are transitioning from to this new place, you know, but go even further back to sort of understand how we got to the Hierophant to begin with. What sort of ideals, what sort of teachers did we have in life? You know, are we following in the footsteps of the people that came before us? Are we following the right footsteps? You know, did we somehow get hooked up with the wrong role models in life, you know? And that's kind of a trick question, because nothing is right or wrong. It just is. We could look back on our life and say, well, I started following the wrong crowd of people, right? Well, no, I mean, you know, relatively, maybe in the moment I got into some trouble that I probably shouldn't have, or I could have avoided if I didn't follow those people. Or hang out with those people, if I had other role models. But it wasn't wrong in the sense that it somehow was a mistake in life, you know? Because everything that you've ever gone through has led you right here to this moment. And if we have this sort of retrospective of our own life in bits and pieces, don't try to do it all at once. It might be overwhelming, right? But appreciate when you arrive at this point, okay? Appreciate where you are. Sit on that nice overstuffed chair, kick your feet up, and enjoy the air conditioner in the teacher's lounge or whatever it is. And allow yourself to sort of look back over the last few years or whatever and think, yeah, I mean, I've come a long way. And allow that to sink in and allow that to really satisfy you. Okay? And I know that's the difficult part, is to allow yourself to kind of accept all of it and to be satisfied even with with what maybe you're still kind of mad at some of this stuff, And I imagine that you are. Most of us, I think, are still mad about things that we'd been through in life. But the Two of Pentacles now is your agency. It is it's your confidence in yourself that you're in control. You can change. You can change your behavior. You can change your circumstances. You can put in the effort to do things differently. Okay? That you're in control of your actions. The Two of Pentacles is a change, a positive change in behavior. That maybe no longer are you feeling like you're kind of stuck here or forced to be here, and all of this stress is going on, even though in our heads maybe we're cursing it, No, the Two of Pentacles, it's your power. You can cause change in your life. You're responsible for the harmonious change. Things can change for the better. Your behavior can be more proactive in whichever direction you wish it to be. It's not a value judgment of right or wrong. It's what's best for you. Let's look at the mystery card. I bet water, right? I mean, it's got to be. Got to be some water here. Either the water or the Fool, because this air energy, this tension, this feeling of just kind of, I feel like the Fool is kind of just like, you're just carefree, So it's either going to be some good water energy or the Fool. If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. Let's take a look. It's the Fool card, of course. It's the release and the relief from all of this tension. And it's kind of like just frolicking through the world without a care. Okay? The Fool is interesting because it's kind of, there's a fine line between wisdom and folly. You want to make sure you look before you leap. But make sure you leap. Right? And do it with intelligence, do it with some planning and some foresight and some contemplation, right? And then after you leap, I want you to also have some thoughtfulness, have some wisdom, and look back at things and see kind of, this is the thought before, this is the thought after. Okay? And the Fool doesn't usually do that. The Fool just kind of blindly, blah, 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 and right off the cliff, right? Sometimes the Fool lands in very good circumstances, right? And sometimes not. Okay, so we want to have a little bit of that sort of just sort of going where the wind takes us, but we want to also do that with intelligence and choice and agency, okay, so that we can more than likely end up where we want to be, end up in a place that's pleasant, right? The Fool, it kind of like, it's just almost sheer luck that the Fool ends up in decent places, just sort of wandering blindly and ignorantly through life. But I like the freedom. I like the lightness. I like the stress-free nature of this card. So I think life is becoming very different for you in a very, very good way. I think a lot of the stress, a lot of the tension is going to be washed away. And I feel like you're learning how to sort of keep it away, keep an underlying sense of freedom and lightness and this airy quality about you while at the same you deal with the stress, of course. There's going to be more tension and stress in life. There's always going to be that. But something underneath the surface is just this kind of free energy. And maybe this is a card too that says one good method here is to allow yourself to play, allow yourself to indulge. The Fool sees a comfy chair, just goes and jumps in it, and it's just like, wow, it's nice. Has the air conditioner, just goes up and like opens up their shirt and just the air conditioning. Sees some cupcakes over there in the corner and just walks over and starts taking one or two. The Fool can be a little inconsiderate sometimes, kind of get your feet off my couch kind of energy. But there's some really, really wonderful qualities there too. We're not really asking for permission. We're not really questioning everything that's going on around us. We're just, something feels good and It's good for you and you deserve it. And it's kind of like allow yourself to feel that satisfaction. Okay, we're not going to go full fool, but I like this. I think it's a very good confirmation card. We're going to do an extended reading if you want to stick around. There's a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Virgo Tuesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.